back at it. Homegrown Radio, Chuck Dizzle, DJ Head.
Yes, sir.
Live from the A edition, man.
Live from Generation Now.
Man, shouts out to the legendary, Grammy Award winning, you know what I'm saying, the one and only DJ Drama, man. We appreciate you for having us in your spot first.
Absolutely.
Facts.
Family, y'all know that.
I've been here a few times, and every time it's always hospitable.
No, for sure.
Everybody's very pleasant. The water's always fresh. Bathroom's always clean. Get you a studio, man. Generation Now.
Good looking.
First off, I actually want to tell you something I think I never told you before.
Okay, wow. We have a lot of combos, so this is kind of ill.
So I don't remember what DJ Summit it was, but I went to Vegas and you were out, like you were hosting a pool party or something.
Okay.
And I forgot who, like
was it
what
a
was
Mix Show Power Summit?
It was something for DJs.
Okay.
And I went down there and my big homie G Malone brought me down there and I was down there mixing and mingling. And I met you, like, I think you was by the pool or something. You had just finished rocking.
Okay.
And everybody was trying to get your attention. And I managed to, somebody slid me up to the front. And they were like, yo, the drum, this is my man, DJ Head. You know, he from LA. He kind of, I was a peon.
Okay.
At this point. I was nobody, right? So you was like, oh, yeah, for sure. You know, take my email. You gave me your email. It was like dramatic at Timo.
Yeah, Timo.blackberry.net.
Right. And I was like, I'm looking, I shit you not, I'm looking at it for like 20 minutes. And I'm just like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna say to it? Right? Because like, I'm trying to figure out like, one, I'm at the house, I'm trying to figure out how to get on the radio and shit. I'm just starting my little.
What year is this? Maybe like 07, 08?
Something like that.
Okay.
It had to be, I just started DJing.
I think I remember the summit, I think when you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like 08
Yep.
or something like that. And I just felt, the only other time I felt like that is when DJ Dents, you know who DJ Dents is? He DJ for the Clippers. Dents gave me his number when he was at Long Beach State doing radio, and I was at a community college doing in the radio program. And that's the only other time I ever felt like that. Like, oh shit, okay. I felt like just because I got DJ Dents' number in like 05 and it got your email in like 2009 or whatever the fuck it was, I was like, I made it.
Yeah, I did.
I was like,
I'm really like that.
I really like that. I made it. Like, fuck it. Like, let's go. But yeah, I just always appreciate you always being, you always extending your arm to other DJs, other professionals, executives, and shit like that. I ain't never really heard no stories of Drum being weird with people.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I appreciate that, and I think that's important because, like, you know, I was once you know what I'm saying? Or I was once that kid trying to come up and, you know, hand my mixtape to people and trying to get on. So I know what that feeling is like. And, you know, I just, you know, to this day, I still do that. Like, even just leaving Vegas, somebody might come up to me and say they're an aspiring artist, or especially when it comes to DJs. Like, anywhere I go and I'm at a spot, whether I'm hosting or DJing, and there's a DJ that comes on before me or whatever, I'm always like, yo, take my number, whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I mean, in this business, like, obviously, you know, everyone starts at some point. And just like you said, like, you've never heard no stories about me being weird. I'm sure there's probably a couple out there, but overall, it's like, you know, that means a lot to me because, you know, look who you've become, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I take pride in that, you know what I mean? Trying to always, you know, being able to extend a hand and just being down to earth, as humble as possible, even with the success and the accolades and all that. Because, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, when it comes to this business, you know, the intern at the front desk might one day be the fucking VP of one of these labels.
Hell,
you know what I'm saying? So it's important how you treat people.
And then also the other thing is, I wanted to tell you, as far as like you just said, you know, being humble and shit like that. I like Drum. I don't know which version of Drum this is, but I think I text you.
You did.
I text you after I saw the Rap Radar shit. I like this version of Drum, talking your shit.
For sure.
Like, stop letting niggas play with you, because you always be cool. Like,
For sure.
I've never seen you lose your shit. Like, when's the last time you lost your shit?
Publicly or privately?
Privately.
When's the last time I lost? Oh, it wasn't that long ago. Oh, it was the other night. Just in Vegas. I just did my birthday party at Jewel.
Yeah, happy birthday, by the way.
I appreciate that. And, you know, I felt like, you know, the way the club situation had been handled, and not to get too deep into it, but like, you know, seeing it was my birthday party, seeing this fight weekend, you know, I literally came with Jeezy, Pusha T, West Side Gun, and you know, they disrespected us on the sections, like where our section should have been. You know, it wasn't, and you know, they even the section that they sold that we should have been came through us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I lost it a little bit, somewhat.
Like when you cursed a motherfucker out or something like
not
that.
crazy, but I'm trying to think. I feel like I lost this sometime not too long ago, but I definitely, you know, I'm a Taurus. We have tempers, so when I lose it, I definitely lose it. You
That
know what I
he's
mean?
I'm a Taurus as well, and it's just like people know me as a nice guy.
He's
right?
a nice
so
one
they're like,
between-
if Chuck is pissed off, you
It's
fucked
gotta
up.
be something, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something that you did to get him crossed over to that level, and it's like, I totally resonate with that. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like you can't push us to a certain level, and once you do, it's like it's.
I always saw him
That's
losing
right.
shit like one time ever, and we've been together 15
years.
something
Wow. Yeah. No, I'm sure if you ask Lake, he'll have some stories for you. But you know, overall, definitely like in front of the camera, like even in interviews and everything for a long time, I've always been, I don't want to say reserved, but politically correct in a sense. So,
Why?
you know, it's just my nature. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, I think it's just like, you know, when you see an athlete do an interview and, you know, they ask them questions and, you know, they come with answers like, you know, it's a team sport and you
Yeah,
know,
all that.
just shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't know if I want to say play by the rules, but you know, I guess it's just in me. Like, and it's not about any ruffling any feathers. It's just I'm just a very modest guy. I'm very thankful of my accomplishments and my position, and you know, I guess in that sense, it kept me like somewhat politically correct for a long time. And then, you know, just in the last couple of years, it was like, you know, I just started to let my nuts hang, man.
Like tired of So what was that breaking point for you where you was like, I'm finna start talking my shit? Like, what was it? Was it? It couldn't have been the Grammy shit. It had to have been something else because you're not really somebody who. I mean, you're thankful, but you don't really look for other people for that validation like that.
I don't know. It wasn't that, but I think it was just around that time period, I guess, you know, because I mean, like a lot of artists or people in the game, you know, it's definitely, you know, I've had my peaks and valleys, you know what I'm saying? I've had incredibly hot points. I've had point moments where, you know, I wasn't as hot, you know what I'm saying? So I just think, you know, I just, for me, it was like coming into my own and in a sense of like, you know, knowing my worth, knowing my value, knowing what I've given and done for the culture. And it's like, you know, let me just be a little more vocal on this. Like, you know, like
Would you have been vocal like behind the scenes more so like versus like in your interviews or even on the records?
nah, even in general, like I think sometimes like even those around me would come to me be like, bro, like you're DJ Drama, like
Stop playing.
Stop.
yeah, like you know, like and just in different instances, you know, just various scenarios. I think, you know, crazily enough, I've had to have people remind me of like, bro, you're fucking DJ Drama. Like, the fuck are you talking about?
Those moments,
What are you doing?
Does it resonate in those moments? Like, damn, okay, I have accomplished a lot. I should kind of step out more. Is it more like you said? It's your nature. Like, nah, I'm kind of cool. Like,
You know, I mean,
Let the
you're a
work speak for
Taurus
itself.
too. It's like it's part of our nature. Like, you know, I'm a very grounded, down to earth guy. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we're all human beings. So I don't let my profession define me as a person. So I think just regardless, you know, it's good to be a stand up individual, you know, be a respectable person. But you know, this is also hip hop, so it's a very competitive sport.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and like I do a lot of I do a lot of like what you may like of me when I'm in mode or I'm on mixtapes. Like
Yeah.
I talk a
On
lot of
record.
shit on mixtapes.
Yeah.
So if I was to sit here, the shit that I talk on mixtapes or as crazy as I go, like if I was like that in my everyday life, like people would be like, all right, this guy's out of his fucking mind. Like he really feels himself. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when it comes to the art, like I go crazy. But, you know, I guess that's somewhat some of it too. It's just that balance, you know what I'm saying? Of like, you know, I can go on in that booth and talk cash shit, but you know, when I sit down with my guys, it's like, you know, we having a stand-up conversation.
Got you.
So do you get up, or have you got an extra battery in your back? Because going back to the conversation of, you know, you making sure you reach out and extend your arm to DJs that are coming up. Was there moments in the past where, and no names involved, but like when you try to reach out to somebody, maybe as far as a mentorship, or just reach out to somebody to try to help you out, and they kind of shunned you, and maybe you saw them later down the line, or I'm wondering because it takes a lot to kind of go extend yourself more. I know you're the type of person that you are, but in most instances, and kind of going off of our story, we've had doors shut on us before. So it's like now, it's like once we're in, we want to make sure we lift up and amplify as many voices as we possibly can.
Right.
So is it a similar story with yourself, or again, is it natural? Just
a long time ago. I mean, and this is small stories, but like, you know, I remember when I was first starting Gangsta Grillz, and like hosting became a thing on mixtapes, and like, you know, there was a couple artists, like one specifically that I had asked to host my first Gangsta Grillz, and they kind of told me no, and then hence my next person in line was Lil Jon. Thank God they told me no, and you know, that's how Lil Jon became the voice of Gangsta Grillz.
Hell yeah.
You know, I think about that artist all the time, like where he's at, and like him, you know, telling me no, or there was another artist early on that tried to charge me like to host a mixtape, and then, you know, things came around, and his career didn't really go as well, and he came back, and he actually took a lot of bullets on a specific Gangsta Grillz.
He fucked around and found out.
So, but I'm trying to think, like in the last like 5-10 years, has that really happened? I mean, I'm sure there's stories of that, but you know, it's part of the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember times introducing myself to people 3, 4, 5 times, and you know, handing them mixtapes, and then, you know, come around, and you know, years later they act like they've known me forever. So I just think that's part of the business, you know. And I tell people that all the time too. Like I'm sure there's kids out there who may have somewhat similar stories with me, or might tell me they done DM'd me and tried to get me music or what have you. And it's like, you know, I mean, like, it's, you know, if you put in the work, you know what I mean, it'll come. But I definitely, like, for me, like what y'all say, like it's always definitely been a thing for me, because I'd rather have the story be like when I first met Drum, or my first interaction, like, damn, this nigga gave me his number, or he was super cool, you know, and then even like, what's the worst thing I could do is not answer, you know what I'm saying? Instead of it being like, oh, that nigga was a dickhead. You know what I mean? So
do you so when it comes to, you were talking about handing people CDs, what do you think is better now? Because I always have this debate versus the golden era of mixtapes, like hard copies, pressing up the CDs. I mean, I know that I don't want to trigger you, but
it's all good.
But the hard copy era, like, you know, hand to hand combat mixtapes, bootleggers. Like, we used to intentionally give our shit
100%
to the bootleggers. You know what I'm saying?
They helped us out.
Or the streaming era where everybody gets it simultaneously. What do you think is better?
I don't know if one is better than the other. I always look at it like I'm thankful that I went through what I went through. Like, it's almost like as a DJ, I'm thankful that I went through carrying crates era, but I would never want to go back to that.
Facts.
You feel what I'm saying? So in a sense, it's similar to, like, I'm thankful that I came from a hand-to-hand distribution type situation, but the reach of the streaming era is incredible. So, you know, it's much easier to drop a mixtape on the DSPs on a Thursday and it touched the world than literally having to, you know, whether it's through your team or whatever, hand to hand, and trying to get it out to the world. So, you know, I'm just glad I come from that. So I know that grind, but I think the space that we're in today, like, you know, people people don't even realize how easy they have it to be able to get their music out to people.
I always sound like an old head when I say that to like my little homies, like the interns and shit.
Hand to hand.
You always, I'll be like, yo, know how easy y'all got it. Like you hit a
Facts.
button and it's gone, and it's like, bro, we used to press physical digipacks and like, you know, the trifold. The trifold was more than
The trifolds was the thing.
the trifold is more than the half. You know what I mean?
But you know, then there's a generation that'll tell us we had it easy because I came up in like the internet era where, you know, there were mixtape websites that, you know, I could get the mixtapes to, and then people could go online and get them that way. And so imagine the era before that when there was no internet and they literally had to like just really get mixtapes and when they were tapes out to a distribution you know, service that barely existed, like just having to know all the mom and pop stores around the country, and you know, whether you're on the West Coast or the East Coast, and just learning it that way. So I feel like every generation it gets easier in a sense. But on the other hand, you know, we talking about you know, I just heard a fact the other day, there's like 34 million songs up on the DSPs that have no
Zero
clicks,
streams. Yeah.
zero
Spotify,
clicks,
yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. You know what I'm saying? So you know, as easy it is it to put the music out, it's also that many more people trying to do the same thing. So you know, it's harder to really create a movement to get people to pay attention to.
With that being said, what tips would you give artists nowadays to kind of break through the noise in this digital age where it's so easy to upload your song and get your music out there? Like for you, like what are the things that you're paying attention to when somebody says, yo, listen to my music, or you know, here's an artist that's out of here?
I think you just gotta you gotta do it all as much as you can. Like, you know, you gotta really, you know, don't be lazy about it just because you can be like, oh, check out my record on, you know, Spotify. You know what I'm saying? If you meet someone like myself or y'all, like you gotta be able to, you know, still be in the mix. You know, still try to make those phone calls. You know, there's like a fine line of like persistence and annoyance, and you gotta really learn how to walk that line with people, and just like, you know, do everything you can. Like take full advantage of the streaming, but that doesn't mean like you don't need to be out there mixing, mingling with DJs. What if you're in a certain city and, you know, making connections and just like, you know, still taking advantage of social media, but like still be present in that moment or in that time or in that space as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I think it's just it's all important. You know, whether it's, you know, still to this day, even going to South by Southwest, as much as people may think like, oh, it's lost its lackluster or what have you, but like, you know, anytime you hear about any of these conventions or just places where, you know, industry people are going to be, like, you know, it's good to be there. You just never know.
You never know. I want to go back to because I remember we was talking to Toon, and he was talking about the whole emergence of the South, quote unquote, and like that whole time. But Trap or Die is like one of them monumental. I feel like it's a pivotal point in. This is from an LA perspective, right? So there's like three moments where I would say, right. The one is Cash Money for the South, right. Two would be the trap music, the album, like, because that changed how we looked at the music down here, right.
Okay.
And then three would be when Jeezy came. And
so hold on, just out of curiosity, you're discrediting Dungeon Family and
no.
Okay.
I'm talking about just things that stand out to me in my mind.
Okay.
From what I
Right, maybe it's your age. It might be your age.
It might be, yeah.
Okay.
So in
Got
my
you.
mind, I'm not discounting Organized Noise
For
or none
sure.
of that. No, hell no.
I get what you're saying.
But I'm just saying from a street perspective.
So Cash Money, trap music album, and then
And Jeezy
Trap or
coming.
Die. Yeah.
I mean, Boys in the Hood and all that shit. But
Right.
when I just feel like the movements that we felt
Yeah.
in LA,
Yeah.
where my homies was in the streets,
Yeah.
and this is the shit they was on, like they fuck with Dungeon Family and,
Right,
and all that shit. But it wasn't like
Right.
when Cash Money hit in the late 90s, it wasn't like. So I want to talk about
get
the Trap or Die because Jeezy specifically is one of them times where I felt like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like it's almost like when 50 Cent came from New York.
Totally.
Okay, it's the same thing, right?
Same. I compare it when I think Trap or Die and Thug Motivation is like the to the South what 50 Get Rich or Die Trying was to the North for sure.
Okay.
1000%.
Okay, so that's my perspective from an LA perspective, right?
Right.
So when that shit hit here, obviously you in the eye of the storm, but
Yeah.
what was that like? Like I never had an inside perspective on it.
It was crazy. I mean, looking back on it, like when you making the history, you don't even realize it because you're just in the moment. But like by the time, so we did the first mixtape, Streets is Watching, and that shit took off and was like the soundtrack to the streets in the Southeast overall. I remember Coach K inviting me he was like, yo, you got to come to a show. You just got to see it. You know what I'm saying? To understand. And you gotta think like when we were doing those mixtapes, like that music only existed in the Gangsta Grillz form.
Yeah.
So, when DJs went to play it, they literally had to play it with my drops, with my voice all over it and everything. So it did a lot for me. And then, Trap or Die is literally the first ever mixtape with a release date. Like before that, mixtapes used to just like come out when they came out. Like, they would, when you saw it in the store, it was out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we literally it was January 25th, 2005 because, we did a party at Visions. It was the release party. So it had an actual release date. And it was like, I mean, that shit changed my life in so many ways, and that it was the first mixtape that had like a DVD that went along with it, the Raw Report. So for me, it was the first time people ever saw what I looked like on that DVD, and it was like, Trap or Die changed the game. I mean, I remember being on tour with Tip at the time. We were on the Urban Legend tour when I did Trap or Die. And there wasn't a city that we went to that I didn't hear Trap or Die coming out of every car, like everywhere, and it was like, it was life changing. And like, Jeezy being, the new it guy, and me being right along and a part of that. Like I remember going to Mix Show Power Summit and, us just being like, the talk of all the DJs and the artists and, artists that I had been looking up to for years was coming and, praising me, or even DJs that I was, were fans of, or, showing me love. So I feel like for me, that was that moment when I was like, oh yeah, I'm here. Like
I've arrived.
Yeah, this is it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, I had just really started to also like figure out, a good formula of like moving mixtapes. So, I started to really generate some real money. Obviously BMF movement that was, surrounding Jeezy's movement as well, just added so much to what was going on. And it was a time like no other. Like, that's all you heard in the clubs. Jeezy was your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. I was the hottest thing going in the mixtape game. And, at the time I felt like, obviously the mixtape culture, like there had been DJs that were big in the South, but, I definitely feel like I was the first DJ like in the South that became like a national thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Where it was like other regions were like, oh, there's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah.
And he's in Atlanta, so yeah, it was, I mean, when I think back, or just even still to this day, when you play those records or you go to a Jeezy show and you see the response, and it's just like, it's just that feel doesn't come around that often. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, you literally like, if you play and Get Your Mind Right or Bottom of the Map or Trap or Die, like, those records still resonate, what, fucking 18 years later, almost 20 years, like, that shit is special,
super special.
And then I remember, and then for me, it was also like, damn, what the fuck I'm gonna do next?
I was gonna say that, like, when you hit moments like that, especially like early in your career, right? You hit moments like that. Is it okay? Damn. Okay, I got the formula. Let's rinse and repeat, or I don't know how we gonna top that.
It's a lot. I've always, crazily enough, always had, I don't know how I'm gonna top that moments in my career. Like, and it's so crazy because I've been topping moments
Right.
ever since. But like, I literally would. I remember thinking like, "Yo, what the fuck I'm gonna do next?"
Yeah.
And then, me and Wayne put Dedication out. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, and I think for me that was my first damn what I'm gonna do next moment, like between Trap or Die and Dedication. So it was like, even for me, like how my career has gone ever since. I love being in that space of accomplishing some big shit because it's such a challenge for me to feel like, all right, cool, now I gotta come with some next shit because it's a lot to top. Like, it could have, like, the story could have ended at
Right.
Trap or Die, and I still would be legendary.
Legend.
Cemented.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hell yeah.
Like, I could have just made Trap or Die, and niggas would be like, "Oh, DJ Drama, that's the nigga that made Trap or Die." But I'm kept on going.
Do you?
I was gonna say, is it safe to say that one of the Grammys, the last, like, damn, how can I top that moment? Or
Definitely,
Okay.
the Grammy was definitely another like, damn, what the fuck I'm gonna do next type moment.
I want you to live in that though for a minute, man. Like being able to receive a Grammy, right? Getting that call, and just having that moment, man. What were the thoughts going through your mind and feeling?
It was crazy. I mean, even that moment in itself, when I learned that I won the Grammy, I was at Dreamville Festival, about to go perform in front of 75,000, doing DJ Drama Presents Gangsta Grillz featuring Tip, Jeezy, and Wayne. So literally, like right before I went on stage, I had to sit down with Rob Markman and Wayno,
Yep. Shout out to them.
and they announced that Call Me If You Get Lost won a Grammy for Best Rap Album. So it was like super like full circle moment, like just to think like, damn, here I'm about to go on stage with these guys that mean so much to my career. I started out with, and I learned that I won a Grammy for a mixtape series I started 21, 22 years ago. You know what I'm saying? On a whim, like in the 4-4, just trying to be creative and make a name for myself. So it was dope, man. I mean, it's still like when I think about it, like, nigga, I really got a Grammy off a mixtape, or
Yeah.
and salute to Tyler.
Shout out to Tyler, bro.
I definitely like give him so much credit and his genius and having me a part of the project. But yeah, again, like, I definitely try to cherish and live in the moment. But I'm also always forward thinking. So, and honestly, it put a real battery in my back. Like after that, I went on a hell of a run with Gangsta Grillz. I mean, like, since Call Me If You Get Lost, I've probably done 18 to 20 some new tapes, and I put my album out. Like, it gave me this energy, this next gear that I felt like I went in, and it was like, after being in the game as long as I am, and getting those opportunities, like, you just can't take that shit for granted. You know what I'm saying? Like, hip hop is, again, very similar to sports. Like, the normal shelf life, and for DJs it's a little different because we're not exactly like artists, but being myself, obviously, like, besides being a DJ, I'm an artist in a sense.
Sure.
But the average shelf life of of somebody being hot in hip hop is a good 3 years. If a nigga makes it to 10, it's kudos.
Right.
If you can get past 10 and what I'm saying, and still mean something, like, that's quite the accomplishment.
You was talking about, so you did Trap or Die while you was on the Urban Legend tour, right?
I did it before the Urban Legend tour, but during the time that it came out in '05, like,
That's when you were on the road.
yeah, so
Okay.
maybe like a couple months after.
So
because
then-
I literally remember doing Dedication like while I was on tour.
Okay, that's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
So, on Dedication, this is ironic. I was gonna talk about this anyway, but you being on tour with Tip and doing the dedication, the Lil Wayne shit, right? So on dedication, Wayne says, "I'm down with the king," right? Salute to the king of the South, and that's at that time. Was Tip already proclaiming the king of the South?
He was.
Okay,
Because
so
Down with the King came out before Dedication. So I looked at it. So when Down with the King, Trapper died, then Dedication came out, like in that
order.
In that order, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So because I was listening to it and it just made me think about it because I was talking earlier about the king when he said he's the king of the South. He went pretty much nobody said nothing. It was like, all right, well, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? You the king of the South. I-20, I know. I mean, Toomp told us that I-20,
Yeah, he had a problem with it.
and he, got removed. But
Flip had a problem with it.
oh, Lil Flip had a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what Down with the King was. It was literally a little Flip this mixtape.
So when that was going on, like, where did like Wayne was like, I'm fucking with this, and it was just like it was interesting to me because Wayne had his own momentum,
Absolutely.
and I felt like I was just again, I think in the South y'all have a chitlin circuit, like we don't have that where
Right.
like you either on or you off,
Right.
in California. So when we watching this shit from across the street, basically, it's like, well, what's going on down there? Like, are they fucking with each other? Are they fucking with each other? But then it seemed like when Tip kind of stuck his chest out there and like, I'm the king, to us it seemed like he went unchallenged. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think with that title, I don't think he went unchallenged because, early on there was the I-20 thing. I mean, obviously, even Luda and Tip had their thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Early on, Ross and Tip had some situations. Wayne had already been in the game for some time, and I felt like he was looking more towards Hove more than anything. Like, because I remember even on the Squad Up mixtapes, like, he was like when we did Dedication, that's when the best rapper alive started coming around Carter and Dedication. So the relationship between Tip and Wayne was good. Like, cause that's really how I got to Wayne, cause I was on the bus during the tour and Tip was on the phone with him, and he let me holler at him because you remember around that time they did the Destiny's Child, what was it, Soldier
Remix,
and it was Tip and Wayne on there too. So they both were kind of like, like the new it guys from the South, and they had a good rapport. I remember, we all even went on tour one time. Tip, Jeezy, and Wayne. I think at the time it was called like the Georgia Power Tour, which is the name. I think we had to change it because Georgia Power had a problem, but also, Wayne wasn't from Georgia. But I think in general the relationship between those three guys was always cool. But Tip definitely, there were some people who had some issues with him declaring himself that. Like, I don't think it was just a smooth, easy road. You know what I mean?
Right.
He had a couple detractors. I mean, obviously early on, Flip being one of them, and we see how that turned out.
Yeah.
And shout to Lil Flip. It's been years. I know all that's been patched up, but yeah, I mean, Tip still had that to prove. You know what I mean? And for me, I was in a great space because I was DJing for T.I., like people knew me for Jeezy, and then here I come, setting this new era with Wayne. So it was like
dipping your hand in multiple pots.
Yeah, I was, and that was
you was talking with everybody
for me, and that was important for me. Like, even though early on it was like, all right, when I first, me and Tip, like first I became his DJ. Just off my being a student in the game, I was like, I knew what that could do for me as a DJ, just paying attention. Like, okay, if I, attach myself to an artist that's coming up, it's also going to help my movement or, what I do. But I also was very clear and very, like, concise in knowing that, like, I want to spread my wings and, like, what I'm doing in the mixtape. like if we in comparison, like what Who Kid, like a lot of what Who Kid was doing was like G Unit
Right.
radio,
Yep.
and it was
Just
focused around what G Unit was doing. Like for me, Gangsta Grillz was built on a platform that like, I could reach out over here and go left, right, up, down, and then obviously it started as like a Southern trap brand, but as the years went on, I was able to like move it and start doing tapes with East Coast niggas and West Coast niggas and fucking backpackers and just really being able to take it in like as many directions as I wanted.
Mm-hmm. The oh my bad. Go ahead.
no, I'll just say I think that's amazing that you kind of had the foresight to do that because it allows you not to get boxed into a
Facts.
particular sound or a
Yeah, yeah.
particular movement or be a part of a particular camp. Now, within situations, how do you as a person like navigate through, all right, I'm down with this person, but this person has a problem with the person I'm down with. Like for you, is it, man, let me be the mediator and try to fix a situation, or is it, man, look, that's y'all problem, let me stay out of it?
It's tough. I mean, I've been in both. I've been in both situations. I mean, obviously, during the Gucci Jeezy situation, like, there was a period when me and Jeezy had fell out, and me and Guwap started to work together, and then when me and Jeezy patched things up, like, we went on the radio and tried to make amends between all of us. You know what I'm saying? So, the name DJ Drama has been somewhat of the gift and the curse. So I've found myself, in my own situations at times. But it's tough, and hip hop is it's a tough situation, especially like when I think about it when I'm giving my platform to people, and then that platform, someone may choose to take some shots at somebody, and then I obviously get associated with that.
Right.
So I've been put in some pickles at times. You know what I mean? It's unlike a producer, for instance, who can necessarily make a beat for somebody and that could turn into a diss record, and they just made the
Hands
beat.
off,
Hands
But
right,
off.
right.
as a mixtape
Because you
DJ,
talking that shit on there too.
yeah, I'm on there talking
Yeah,
cash
motherfucker.
shit. You know what I'm saying? So I get thrown into the pot. So I've been on all sides of the spectrum when it came to that, for sure.
I'm glad to see that because I saw Jeezy on Breakfast Club and he said he love you. Um, and then he gave you your flowers and he said he love you and y'all brothers, y'all been through I was glad to see y'all,
Yeah.
click, get that right. What was I, oh, but before that though, was he really pulling, he was saying he was pulling up to the shows and shit? Like when y'all had a problem, like he was really pulling up like,
Well, when we had a problem, I was still Tip's DJ, so we would cross paths.
got you.
So it would be like it would get a little sticky at times. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it was like, we would have an issue, but I'm still riding, with Grand Hustle, and it's like, I'm Tip's guy. So, it was just, it was just one of those times that I'm thankful is over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you know, as men, you know what I'm saying, we all grow, we all like, when you come into those situations with success and money and fame and ego, like, especially like the first go around, like, we've seen it many times, things go left between niggas, you know what I
Facts.
mean? And like, that's really what happened. I mean, both me and Jeezy, like, we literally came up together, you know what I'm saying? And, then we had our differences, but I mean, it's we've been in a great space for over a decade now,
Yeah.
like, or longer, you know what I mean? Like, that's really my guy. Like, we have a great rapport, a great relationship. So if we measure like the time that it was bad compared to the times that it was good,
It's not even close.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
even close. And and I've watched those interviews and or been asked similar questions, and again, more than anything, it's like we in our 40s now. You know what I'm saying? These are things we're talking about happening in our mid 20s. Or late 20s. Early 30s, for instance. Like, like we're family men. Like,
Not on that.
we're not when we don't like even with Snowfall, like me and Jeezy talked about, like we didn't do it because we had to, like we
Yeah.
did it because we want to,
And I ain't gonna
So
hold you.
yeah, I mean, we've had,
Record, hella record.
we've had plenty of records and and moments. Been on tour together, I've done DJ runs for him, like so like it feels good to, still after all this time, like be in a good space with somebody you came up with. And I have that with every, same with Wayne. Like, that's really my guy. Anytime I need him, he's there for me. Like, Tip, same thing. Or even if I think about, me, Cannon, and Lake, like, nigga, we've known each other since we were 18. You know what I mean? Like, me and Cannon used to split $300 to do parties, you know what I'm saying? So, I think if anybody really wants to look at it, like, that should be a very strong point of what we've accomplished, and to see that, we see in hip hop how easy it is for people to fall out and, make millions together and still not being able to figure it out. You know what I mean? So, we've said before, like we are a great example of being able to mix friendship and business. Like
I think what was dope to speak on what you're saying is when I saw the verses. When I saw Jeezy and Guwap do the verses, and Gucci did the record. He did the record.
Yeah.
And Jeezy's like, you know what? I ain't even own that. And it was like, damn. To me, that was like, I want you to speak about what that meant to the city. But for me, watching that shit again from afar, it's like, damn, that's some real man shit. Like
Yeah.
I just respect it. Not that I don't respect Gucci.
Right.
Like, I've talked to Guwap before. Like I respect Gucci, but for him to do that song and then right after that, G's like, man, I ain't even own that, bro.
Yeah.
Like that shit to me was just some man shit.
It was, he definitely took the high road, and I salute him for that.
Hell yeah.
In Gucci's defense, someone tried to take his life.
That's true.
So, as men, like, if someone, and again, that situation is, years old,
Yeah,
but
longer.
you don't know how you would feel if you would ever let it go if someone tried to take your life. You
No.
know what I'm saying?
I don't know that I can, but that's why I always
You know what
respect
I mean? Like,
those types of situations.
I mean, just the fact that they were able to stand there on that stage together, I think it was the most empowering thing, you know what I mean? Or watching them perform Icy together for the first time ever, a record they literally meant so much to both of their careers.
Hell
And
yeah.
they never performed it, so, I definitely commend Jeezy on how he handled it, but, I don't, that also for me is not to take anything away from Gucci for, how, he handled the verses as well. And I think he even, went on Elliott Wilson and B-Dot and said something like, maybe like, I don't want to take his words out of context, but like he may have in hindsight, he may have handled it differently. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean,
No, I like this Gucci 2.0, like the one he in shape, he
Oh
smiling.
yeah, no,
like I love this shit.
He's in, and it's dope to see. That's the dope shit about hip hop. Like like when we think about where artists are gonna wind up or be, after 10, 15, 20 years in the game. Like, who would think that Gucci would be, the nigga with the 6-pack eating fruit.
He looked
happily
crazy.
married.
Like he looked like a fucking, like I'll be like, damn.
But it just reminds me of like when we was coming up, like nigga, Ice Cube was the nigga you love to hate. He was the nigga who said burn Hollywood burn. Now this nigga's the fucking, has a percentage in Hollywood, or let's look at Snoop. Like, this nigga's the most famous rapper on the planet. Like,
Facts.
Murder Was the Case, or fucking Ice-T. Like, this nigga fucking made Cop Killer, and now we watch him on
That's
fucking,
you.
Law and Order playing a cop, every week. You know what I mean? So I just think about it like, I look at it like that, like, or even if when I think about Tip, Jeezy, and Gucci, or, where they started and where they are now, and, when I look at today's era, when you think about like a 21 Savage, like I say it all the time, the same thing. Like I could see him taking that same route in 10, 15 years, you know, being America's darling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's hip hop. Like that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, you know, where people start at and where they wind up. Like it's just the dopest shit ever.
Why doesn't Crenshaw get the Gangsta Grillz credit?
I think because there's a version without me on it,
Bro.
and the version that's on DSPs is that version that doesn't it's not the Gangsta Grillz version. On the cover it says DJ Drama Presents, but it doesn't necessarily say Gangsta Grillz on there. But you know that's definitely something that through the years has bothered me. You know,
Right.
Just to let you know, it lives in my head as a Gangsta Grillz.
and I appreciate that.
Face the World is one of my favorite songs by Nip. And I still, in my head, when I still play your drops in my head.
I can
before the
literally
verse
listen to
and
music
at the end, yeah.
and hear what the
love that.
drops are. Like,
Nah, I love
And
that.
if low-key, it feels weird to not hear it when you stream it on the DSPs.
I love that. And you know, I mean, I always wish the version with me was on the DSPs, but you know, for those who know, you know, they know it's part of the Gangsta Grillz legacy. Another, you know, another moment for me that was huge. You know what I'm saying? Definitely a classic tape.
was Nipsey your first West Coast Gangsta Grill?
Nah,
Okay.
my first West Coast Gangsta Grillz. Who was my first West Coast Gangsta Grillz? It could have been might have been Snoop. I did a Terrence Martin tape very early on.
That's right. With
I did Lock
Cal
High.
Jones. Yeah.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I think I did Lock High before I ever did Snoop tape. I think I did Lock High first, and then I wound up doing Snoop tape. But Lock High was like '08, and there had to be one before that, in like oh 06, 07.
Because now we talking about that Piff live mixtape. Like
Yeah,
that's
that era.
That's
Because Lock High was like right before that era. Because I feel like it got lost. That's cause like that's an incredible tape.
Love that tape.
And that tape was like literally right in the middle of the like the hand to hands to then when it was like free download streaming era. And you know, I remember how excited I was just to do Lock Eye. But yeah, Terrence and Snoop were probably
the first.
some of the earliest. But I mean, there's a lot, you know, shit. YG, Tyga,
Yep.
fucking.
You know, I actually went and I tried to. I was telling him this morning, like I actually went to try to count how many Gangsta Grills are
in total.
total.
Shit.
I lost count somewhere around 200.
Did you?
Yeah,
You got to 200.
I got to like I think it was like one. I don't remember because I lost count. But it got murky like after like 198.
That's a lot of.
Or
them
like it was like between 160 and 190 somewhere. I lost count. Like fuck it, I wing it. But
I think it might be like 225, 250 now.
okay,
After the last year and a half, it's probably up to like 225, 250.
that's fucking crazy.
It is. It's insane.
Is that something that's going to continue to just live on until
I
your
mean,
existence?
it feels like it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it feels like it. Like just that even to have an artist like NBA YoungBoy say, you know, like when he wanted to have a host for his tape and he grew up hearing my voice and it was like when I wanted to do a tape, like if I'm gonna get a DJ, I'm gonna go to Drum. Like, you know, it's a, you know, and thanks to Tyler, like, you know, there's a new life, a resurgence to it. Like, so, you know.
Do you really give Tyler credit for resurrecting Gangsta Grillz?
I don't know if resurrect is the right word, but
Because I heard you say something like that, and
I definitely give him a lot of credit. I mean, first of all, a Grammy does a lot.
Yeah, but it's
no. I'm not saying from. I'm not talking about from the accolade standpoint, but I'm saying that was already a thing, and then he obviously had the idea.
Well, let's think about it in perspective of the year and a half before Tyler's tape, how many tapes I had done, to after Tyler's tapes, how many tapes I've done.
I'm with you.
So yeah, I give
Yes,
I give
to
him a
answer your
lot of
question.
the credit.
That's
Yeah,
what's up.
absolutely.
I want to get into actually last Gangsta Grillz thing. Drake, Kendrick, Cole. I know the Dreamville There was
Dreamville.
the Dreamville
Yeah.
project.
It's not exactly a Cole Gangsta Grillz, but if that's what you're getting at.
Right.
Okay.
Is so Cole, Kendrick,
If I had to pick one,
Drake.
if I had to pick one
Pick one.
to do a Gangsta Grillz with, oh my God. And I can only pick one?
One.
You can't do that to me.
Okay. I mean, you could say why, but I'm just curious because that's obviously okay. The reason why I ask is that's the current Mount Rushmore that everybody. Those are the three that everybody unanimously agrees on.
For sure.
The fourth spot is swappable depending on.
I think there's two other spots if I do it, if you ask me.
Really?
Yeah, there's two spots. I know Mount Rushmore is 4.
Okay.
But I think
you're doing 6.
No, I'm doing.
Oh, you're doing
I'm
5.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the 5?
I think it's in all fairness.
What's the 5?
Future and Nicki.
Okay.
I think you have to put them up there.
For sure.
I would.
I think Future.
That's
is
fair.
I think Future is the 4th,
Yeah.
and you can't talk about this era and not put Nicki up there.
That's fair.
It's
I'm not mad at that.
It's almost disrespectful at this point.
I'm not mad at that.
Because the 4th, and if there was only 4, it's a tough pick between. I would probably put Nicki just out of respect for what she did to female rap.
Facts.
But it's also hard to not think about this last 13, 14 years and not give Future his flowers
Facts.
as well.
100%. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying from a perspective of a lot of people try to discredit Future. Obviously, for like they just do. I don't know why, but they do all the
crazy.
time. Nicki, people give Nicki her flowers, but if you had to pick one of those 3 to do a Gangsta Grillz,
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could pick. I mean,
because I looked and I'm like, I got the Dreamville tape. I got certain features, certain records, but I don't have a full Gangsta Grillz project.
yeah, I've worked with Kendrick. I've worked with Drake.
Right.
But
I don't have a full Gangsta Grillz with none of those.
Kendrick might be the only person. No, he's on the Gangsta Grillz. I think he's on a dedication. So, hey, I don't know. It's hard. I can't answer.
That's fine.
Because I would any of the 3 would be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Is there a reason?
Surprisingly, I think the world, out of all of them, would want to see a Drake Gangsta Grillz. I think out of those 3,
Right.
that's what I feel like the world would want to see.
Facts.
But, I think for me, like as a fan of all 3 of them, it's tough to pick.
I want the K-Dot just because I'm biased.
I respect that too.
I'm biased. I want the K-Dot Gangsta Grillz, but
Yeah, I respect that too.
Well, when you go into to do these Gangsta Grillz, man, is every process different?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Because I was talking to Seti Hendricks about this, and he was just like, man, when I got that call, it was like,
it's time.
man, it was it's time, and he was like, just being hearing you go in and kind of do your thing, and he's like, man, the process is just fucking phenomenal to just watch and to see it in real time. And I'm just wondering your process, like, do you look at an artist and say, okay, I know I got something for that, or is it just you feel the moment each time?
Yeah, I go into it like I like to think about it in the sense of like when we name the Drakes, the Kendricks, the Coles, like that's how I perceive myself when it comes to mixtape DJs and what I do. Mm-hmm. So like my formula and the way I approach every project is based upon the artist, based upon the music, and then it's also based upon where I'm at or where, how I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? So, like when I think about all the stuff that I say on these tapes, or it's like it comes from a real place. You know what I'm saying? Obviously I work off the music, but like I approach it like a lot of these tapes, when you go back and listen to it, like a lot of it is real life or real experiences that I'm going through at that moment, on top of the music, you know what I'm saying? So, and it varies on just like, there might be projects that I start from scratch with an artist. There might be projects where they bring to me complete music wise, and I just kind of go in and do my thing, or it might be a mixture of both where, I'm submitting some records or we're working on it together. So, each one really has its own feel or, different cadence to how it's done. You know what I'm
Do you
saying?
have a preference as to which process you like more, building it from scratch, having the songs, or
Normally I know that I love to be in my own zone, in my own space where, like, after the music is done, when I'm doing my talking part, like, to be in, like, by myself with me and my engineer, when I can just kind of vibe out. But I also really enjoyed the process with Tyler with Call Me If You Get Lost, where, I literally went in, we did 3 or 4 sessions of me in the studio with him, and, I was sitting there for hours talking music. Then I would go in the booth, listen to the music, say my shit, then he would come with some suggestions on what to say. And and it's so funny, like, when people ask, like, the few artists that have gotten to watch me do that, like, because there's not a lot. And you know Tyler's one of them, Simba is one of them.
Shout out to Sim.
And they're like, watching this nigga work is, like, incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, there's people out there that just think I just go in there and just say anything. But, like, I really, like,
take it serious?
I take my shit very serious. You know what I mean? Like, how I approach the music and the projects.
I think that's interesting because as a DJ, like, people always ask me, like, you can't find a mixtape hosted by DJ Head in the last 15 years. I don't host mixtapes, and people would pay me, like, money to host mixtapes, and I just haven't done it. And
Why?
they always ask why, and I'm like, one, my brand, I don't want to be for sale, like, because people just want me to host their mixtapes to, like, to get the name on it. But then the second thing is, I'm like, if I'm not finna chase drum, then what am I doing? I literally say this in every interview. I'm like,
Smart man.
I'm being honest with you. I never told you that, but if I'm not finna go after the throne, then what the fuck am I doing it for?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
Like,
that's real.
So that's why I respect it so much on different levels.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Could a DJ start their own brand and try to break it? Not break. I guess breaking artists would be a safe thing to say, but is that even something that can be done to now? I'm talking about a DJ that's just starting up, not somebody that already kind of has a name. DJ just starting up today.
So that's what I was gonna say. Like, do we count Metro Boomin, or is he a producer? Like,
Both. Well, he's a DJ too.
right? Like, he DJs, right? Like, Metro is a great example of someone who came after me that is, like, taking it to levels of elite.
That's a good point.
So Mustard came after me. Mustard, like,
Yeah, that's true.
Mustard has said many times, like, he looked at me like a god. You know what I'm saying? And, like, he started out as DJ Mustard. He was hosting mixtapes as well as producing, like, and he's taken it to an elite level. So I think it can be done. I mean, there were definitely DJs, obviously, that came after me that have been successful. I mean, Holiday, Scream,
Yep.
again, Mustard. I know they're producers, but I still, I love to give Mike Will his credit.
Shout out to Mike Will.
Metro. Shout out to Sunny Digital, but I don't. Nobody, like, there's no point in trying to come along. Like, you're not gonna get anywhere doing your best drum impersonation.
Right. You got to be you.
At this point, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not. And, like, even I had this conversation with Flex, and these are words from his mouth. He's like, yo, there's been many different, like, DJs that have had the throne as far as the mixtape king. But, like, since I came along, nobody's taken the throne from me. Like, literally, I've been the go-to mixtape guy since what, 05, 06, and like, I'm still the go-to mixtape. Like, if you're gonna do a mixtape in 2023 with the DJ, like, if it's not with me, it's like,
What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? You know, and I say that with all modesty, and
shit.
and that's not to say that
Living that shit.
someone shouldn't try or for other DJs not to try to do their thing, but like you gotta, you know, just like I didn't invent the wheel, but like, you know, I brought something to the table. Like before me, niggas wasn't talking cash shit on mixtapes. They was doing shout outs and you know, talking about the stores that was selling tapes, and I came along and added a whole personality to the game. You know what I mean?
You know, I'm gonna push back a little bit. I remember listening. I'm talking shit, but Manny
Right.
Fresh.
Yeah.
I love hearing Manny Fresh talk shit on records.
Oh yeah.
He be like, he say random shit, chickens, birds,
Love it.
bald head bitches.
Yeah.
Like, it just be like, wait, what did he say?
Yeah.
So like, I like listening to Fresh.
Fresh is the shit. I mean, and he does that on records that he produced. And,
Yeah.
You know, he was never a mixtape guy.
DJ.
So.
Right.
But like, you know, I think that it can be done. You know what I'm saying? Like I would never sit here and say, would never tell any DJ not to try or not to, you know, whether it's mixtapes or whatever form that you want to make a name for yourself. Like, you know, there's always
A lane that you
there's
can kinda,
always a lane.
Yeah.
Like there's always a lane. There's always a way to figure it out. You know, and obviously, you know, when it comes to what I do, like I'm the elite guy. Like I'm up here and like respect to what Head said, like, you know, if I'm not going to chase drum, like what's the point?
What the
you
fuck
know?
am I doing it for? I
So-
want to go to Generation Now, but before one last mixtape shit. Whose mixtape discography do you respect outside of yours?
Oh, I can go for days.
Oh, okay, just give me a couple.
Of course, Cannon, Green Lantern.
Green never gets the mentions.
I don't know why.
That's crazy. It's always like Clue. You know,
Green. Green is he's one of my goats. Like there would be no Gangsta Grillz if it wasn't for Green Lantern. Like between Green Lantern and Who Kid, like we literally combine their blueprints to create what Gangsta Grillz is.
Is that right?
Do you have a Mount
absolutely.
Rushmore of mixtape DJs?
Do I?
Yeah.
So it would be. All right, so let me finish the catalog question first. So I said Cannon, Green, Who Kid, of course Clue.
Yep.
Gotta show Mustard some love. I would put Scream in there. I would put Holiday in there.
Shout out to Holiday.
And then going back, definitely Tony Touch, Ron G, Doo-Wop, Kid Capri. Rest in peace to K Slay.
Yep.
K Slay, like K Slay's tapes, just his output and how he was like touching the streets. Like I definitely have to give him his credit. And then I'm trying to think, is there anybody I'm definitely forgetting somebody? Clinton Sparks. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people.
That's all good.
Even DJ Smalls. Like when I was doing Gangsta Grillz, like when Smalls had Southern Smoke, like he was giving me a run for my money at a period of time.
Hell yeah.
Like, yeah, Southern Smoke.
Southern Smoke and was it Mike Watts?
Oh, Michael Watts, 5,000 Watts.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I remember like a lot of that shit coming like
DJ Screw.
Yeah.
You got him. You can't not mention Screw. So my Mount Rushmore. And then I gotta say SNS.
Yeah.
My Mount Rushmore of
Mixtape
DJs, obviously not including myself.
No, you included.
Well, then that only leaves me what, 3 spots?
Yep.
No, do that do the same shit, right?
Oh, the five?
Five. So
Okay, so
we
that
got you
all right.
on there.
So
That's a
so
4.
I got 4 left. So it would be Clue, Green, Who Kid, and it would be my last one. I'd probably say Doo-Wop.
Okay,
Yeah, I would put Doo-Wop.
that's what's up. Your favorite mixtape that's not a Gangsta Grillz? You only get one.
Only one?
Yep.
Shit. My favorite mixtape is not a Gangsta Grillz. I only get one. That's tough. A DJ hosted one, or just even like a.
It could be a produced mixtape. Your favorite mixtape, don't matter. Long as we culturally count it as a mixtape.
So I'm gonna do two. I'm gonna do a one DJ one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do one non-DJ one.
Okay.
So the non-DJ one, I'm gonna say Section 80.
That's a good one, yeah.
And then the DJ one,
That's so wild. I want to. Okay, keep going.
the DJ one, I would say, fuck. I only get one. Let me think. Because there's so many errors. Like it's tough. Let's go with 56 Nights.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Esco 56 Nights because I
Nice.
didn't mention my brother Esco.
Shout out to Esco, man. Why Section 80?
I mean, it was,
That's my favorite.
it was
project, by the way.
groundbreaking. It was. Oh, you know what? I gotta mention one other one too.
Okay.
But let's talk Section 80. I feel like it was really when Kendrick came into his own. He definitely was, he had his eyes on the throne. Conceptually, like musically, just, lyrically, like he was just light years ahead of what everybody else was doing. It was just like phenomenal. It was a piece of art from beginning to end. Now my runner-up is Cushion OJ.
Ooh.
Wiz Khalifa.
Word.
Yeah.
That should definitely change things.
Classic. Shout the Wiz. Cushion OJ is
That should
classic.
change things for Wiz.
Yeah. Oh
Man.
yeah, that was it for Wiz. It was on and popping from there.
Catapult him for sure.
I want to talk about Generation Now, and one just having a vision, okay, of putting I don't want to say a three-headed monster, but of creating the Generation Now, right? And then having the foresight to sign people like Uzi and shit like that, where I felt like that was like in a pivotal time when y'all first got Uzi, a lot of people didn't get it. A lot of people didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember even with Jack, like a lot of people still don't get it, which is #1 records. It don't matter. Like a lot of people still don't get it. And me and you've had this conversation over and over about Jack, but how does Generation Now become a label where it's like you're okay with taking risks and okay with people not getting it right away?
One is because I feel like I've done that my whole career. Like I'm a kid from Philly who moved to the South, who literally changed Southern hip hop
That's a trip when you think about that.
culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like with my mixtape series. When I started Gangsta Grillz, they told me like, niggas in the South don't want to hear new music. They don't want to hear freestyles. They don't want to hear you talking all over the tape. Like that's not what they want to hear. And I did totally
All
the
of it.
opposite. And look what happened. And I just feel like, or even when I first did a Pharrell Gangsta Grillz or Little Brother, niggas was like,
Bro, when the
that's
little
not
brother,
that's not Gangsta Grillz. Like Little Brother, that's like Gangsta Grillz is Tip, Jeezy, and Wayne. Like
It's not backpack.
yeah, that's not what Gangsta Grillz is. And I was like, no, Gangsta Grillz is what I make it. And interestingly enough, Generation Now was a mixtape title that we started because we had gotten some drops from Kanye West and Joe Budden early on in like 04, before Gangsta Grillz had started to branch out. And we were like, all right, we need a title that's kind of fitting because of like the type of artist that Kanye was. So we named I named the Generation Now. And, we doubled back years later to, name the company that when we started the label. But, I just think that, going against the grain or like being a part of things that people don't believe in, it's just like, it's always been something that I've been used to. You know what I mean? And like, you know, when Cannon first brought Uzi to the table, and like people would ask, like, you know, what type of artist is he? And I'd be like, you know, he's like, I would explain it like he is to Philly what ASAP Rocky is to New York, in a
That's
sense.
I like that. I never, yeah,
Like that's literally how I would explain
I
it.
never thought about that.
Because people would be like, well, you know, what's up with the kid? And it was like, you know, Philly is known for fucking State Property, Meek Mill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like real spitters type. And not
Yeah.
to say that Uzi's not a spitter, because he is, but you know, he came in with green hair, you know, with melodic, you know, tone and, you know, a whole different type of sound. And you know, we hit the jackpot, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the kid was literally a rock star. I mean, we, you know, from the point we put Love is Rage out, it was just like, there was no turning back. And similar with Jack, you know, like when I saw, like when I first met Jack and, you know, I felt his, you know, his ambition, like, you know, his want to be one of the ones. And, you know, it was like, I remember even from the label, they were like, white rapper. And I'm like, look, it's not 2001. Like,
We've seen this before.
We've had plenty of examples of successful white rappers since Eminem. You know what I mean? Like, they can exist in the culture. You know what I mean? And, you know, Jack was dope. Like, obviously, you know, you see his skin color and it's a big factor, but you know the kid made incredible music, you know what I'm saying? And you know, lyrically he was dope as fuck, and personality wise he was just like,
Yeah.
he was never trying to be something he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like he was very comfortable in his own skin within, you know, in the culture within hip hop, you know, and I love that about him. So
I
it's
do
like,
too.
you know, years later, like watching the videos come out when he was a kid rapping and, you know, Kendrick complimenting it and Drake complimenting it, it just kind of shows how long he's been at it. And it's just like, for us, you know, it's just like, I think that when we see something that, you know, we believe in, or, you know, like when I think about hip hop and I think about myself, like I'm a kid that like grew up on the roots, was DJing for Bahamadia, and then came, you know, then made Gangsta Grillz. Like, you know, as much as I was listening to Tribe, I was listening to Ice Cube,
Yeah.
or I was listening to fucking, you know, Wu-Tang, and I was listening to the Ghetto Boys. You know what I'm saying?
It's a duality.
So, yeah, and I think that, you know, that's one thing that I've always tried to show in my career is like how much of the culture that, you know, I represent or I'm a part of when it comes to hip hop, and not like, you know, not like you said, Chuck, like I never wanted to get boxed in to one thing. So, you know, even with thinking about it, the guy that created Gangsta Grillz, who signed Little Uzi and fucking Jack Harlow, or then taking a step further, who then goes on to make a Gangsta Grillz with Tyler the Creator, right? You know, and breathes this new life back in to the, you know, into the series, you know, or into the platform. Like, you know, who would have ever thunk of all people it was going to be Tyler to do that, you know? So I just think, you know, that's what hip hop is. Again, it's about going against the grain. It's about, you know, a lot of people, you know, telling you no or not seeing the vision, and you turning them into believers. And like I've always had fun with that. Like like I said on the album, like, you know, remember when I told you I found this kid from Kentucky, he was gonna be the one?
Yeah.
You know, why would you ever doubt me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, I've been doing that shit my whole career, and I think, you know, and when we speak about Generation Now, when we speak about what I bring to the table, what Cannon brings to the table, what Lake brings to the table, it's like, you know, as a three-headed monster, like, you know, we're very potent individuals. Like the combination of, like, you know, Lake is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. You know, Cannon is one of the most talented people I've met in my life. You know, I'm one of the most driven and you know, most like competitive people, or, you know, just like the hunger that I have to continuously provide. So, when we come together, it's like, and for us, it's unstoppable.
How do you not let egos get in the way of making the machine crash? Because we see it time and time again when it comes to labels,
Yeah.
teams, things of that nature. So, you obviously, shouting out Lake and Don, man, and giving you guys all props. How do you not let that the egos and the success get in the way of building this machine and keeping it going?
I mean, because we know our roles, we know each other, we know our strengths, we know our weaknesses. We know that at the end of the day, we can be on the phone, fucking arguing, cussing each other out, on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock, and then Friday morning, we on the group checks, cracking jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like we've literally been friends since '96. Like we all in our own ways, like kind of like made our own paths individually, and then for us to come together, and to create something that we've created. Like, I just think it's more fun to get money with your brothers than
Hell yeah.
you know what I mean? And like for you to not be the only one that's, financially stable or rich, or, what I'm saying? Like it feels great to, be able to think about, like, again, going from $300 to, 7 and 8 figure checks. You know what I mean? And, I think we all know that I couldn't do it by myself. Like, as much as I've accomplished, or as much as, I may be the marquee of the label, or, or the three of us, like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Cannon. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Lake. You know what I mean? So, knowing that, it's like, it allows me and allows us to not let, the ego get in the way, and know how important, they are to, or we all are to each other's success, or what we bring to the table.
Have there ever been moments where you had to check yourself internally, or maybe between the three of you guys? Like,
1,000%.
okay,
Many times.
that's
I
dope.
mean, if I can just speak from an individual point, like, there's been moments, like, and I'd say not in recent moments in the last couple of years, there's been times when, I might have been off my square somewhat, and I had my brothers there to pick me up and be like, yo, come on, Drum, like, that's not the Drum we know, like, get on your shit,
Yeah.
and, thankful I have them there to, to do that. And we're very honest with each other, in a sense, and I mean, we're all human, so, sometimes they're tough conversations to have, but they're necessary. And I think, the friendship in a lot of ways helps with us, you know what I'm saying? Because, we know that at the end of the day, like, those are my brothers regardless, you know what I mean? So
They got your best interest in mind.
at all times, and, and vice versa. So
I think accountability is key to what you're saying.
absolutely.
Have you ever been in from a, because now you also, not only you're a talent, but you have to put on your executive hat too. Has there ever been a time where you have to go in the studio with an artist and be like, this ain't it. I don't like this verse. Like, you gotta redo your verse, or even during a mixtape, like, oh, you should redo this shit, or
Yeah.
so and so killed you on a verse.
Yeah. Shit, I remember the first time Dallas and Simba came to play me the first tape we were gonna do, and it wasn't it. And, Simba didn't get the response from me that he wanted. And I think it made him go back in, and, hence came out with Results Take Time, which is a
Amazing.
spectacular project, you know what I'm saying? There's been times when, we've been in there with our artists, and, we haven't seen eye to eye, or, had differences of opinions. But the one thing about it too is we also, like, when it comes from a label perspective, like, we give our artists a lot of freedom and have a lot of faith in them. And, like, we may disagree, but we also let them have their creative vision. So, like, there might have been a time when we may not have been the biggest fan a Jack Harlow album or mixtape cover, but you know, it's his vision at the end of the day. And you know, we might have our jokes and say how we feel, but like
group chat be killing them still, right?
You know what I mean? And, you know, we have some hell of a group chats going on, and you know, again, like I just, you know, and our artists come to various members of us for different pieces of advice or conversations, and you know, it's just really about like knowing when to put the right hat on, knowing when to put the executive hat on, knowing when to put the boss hat on, knowing when to, you know, knowing to fall back, you know what I'm saying, and let them, you know, do what they want. And sometimes, you know, you might have to bump your head to learn the lesson, you know what I mean? But, you know, I've been in that same predicament when I've had to bump mine and learn. So, you know.
What was your reaction when the first time you heard First Class?
What was my reaction the first time I heard First Class? I thought it was fire. I didn't know that it was gonna be as big as it is. I mean, we knew he had a hit record, but I didn't know that it was gonna be
#1 in the country.
Like I remember him playing us a couple records, and we definitely, like, when he played Nail Tech for us, like kind of like last, and we were like, nigga, like, well, we didn't say that,
To Jack.
well, we might have said that, but we were like, bro, like, what the fuck, like, huh? Come out the gate with that, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, Nail Tech did what it was supposed to do, and you know, set it up for First Class. But I definitely, the first time we heard was popping, we all knew it was
Out of here.
We knew it was out of here. Like, no questions, no debate, no like, oh yeah, this is it. But yeah, First Class was kind of like, I knew it was a hit. Didn't know how big it was gonna be.
What about I Just Want to Rock?
Couldn't have imagined in a million years it was gonna be this. Not even gonna lie to you.
Right. I didn't see it at all.
Yeah, not even gonna.
I was like, the song is 90 seconds.
Not even gonna. The song's 90 seconds with what?
It's like it's
4 bars, 6 bars.
The song is 90 seconds and 88% hook.
And it's like 8 bars on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see that one.
So
we saw it. We felt it creeping. We felt it creeping, and it was
went
like,
to a
okay,
different
this is
stratosphere.
But I'm saying, when you get a record like that, like, obviously it has to turn it in. So you guys get the record, right? So you get the record and you listening to it. Do you, like, what is that?
I mean, Uzi.
You have to make a decision to put it out as a label too. So
it's always been what Uzi is like. Uzi is the type of artist, for the most part, that, like, we've always had more success instead of trying to pick records with just putting out bodies of work and letting the records, like, letting them translate or see what his fans gravitate towards. Like, that's always been, in my opinion, the success of Vert. Like, watching him put out the project and then seeing what songs go off of that. For instance, like, even with EXO Tour Life, like, you know, we put that out like a 3-4 pack on he lost his phone and he put them up on SoundCloud, and, you know, that's the one that caught, and it was like, that was fucking, you know, diamond, you know what I mean? But yeah, I Just Want to Rock, like, yeah, I didn't see that coming. Didn't see it coming.
my bad.
I was gonna say you wear multiple hats. We talked about that, but one thing in particular I remember and still do right now, as far as you being the voice of iHeart, right? Now, the interesting part about this is, I'm just gonna speak from LA's perspective, right?
Some LA shit.
When Real 92.3 opened up, right?
And it started, I was
Oh
the voice.
my God!
Oh my God.
I was so
heard-
hyped. I was so
Bro.
excited.
For the folks that don't live in LA, just gonna paint the picture for you.
Yeah, paint it.
You know, there's another station in Los Angeles.
He can't say it. I can say it because I'm
still
not
work at
employed.
iHeart, right?
It's called Power 106.
Right.
That's his competing station.
That is my competing station. But when you said, turn the power off, what's the other line?
You said.
Bro, I felt so bad.
You said.
You know, I had to call. I called all those guys.
I was gonna say. So the thing is, this,
I called Justin.
Got you. Okay, so you had to make
I
good.
called E-Man.
Keeping the heads up, like this was happening.
Like, listen,
I didn't tell him it was happening.
Got you, but after the fact,
I had to be like, yo, you know, I love y'all. Like,
I
cause
gotta
you know, it's a tough because I wear so many hats.
it's like being on tour with Tip and beefing with G.
Yeah, same shit. Like, so yeah, for all those listening, when the station was launched, I was super excited because, you know, LA is one of my second homes. I spend a lot of time there. I do a lot of clubs there. So to be to have my voice being heard on a station was super exciting for me. But at the same time, I remember though, it's crazy. I forgot about that, but I remember those lines on the paper, like turn the power off and like, you know, they
Can't pay the light bill or gas. Or
yeah, they had me going hard.
yeah.
And I really, you know, I had to, you know, those guys are my friends over there. And, you know, at the same time, I'm an artist.
Right.
So,
and that's the part I was talking about.
Yeah, like
you got to go in as talent to these
yeah,
stations.
like I gotta, you know, I want these people to play my records. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
So,
no, we heard that sweeper.
Let me tell you something.
and that's put me in some tough positions.
I know.
In various cities for sure.
Let me tell you something. So this is how it goes down. The end of the road was when they flipped formats. Okay, when they flipped this is obviously before I got to the station. 2015, they flipped format. They go from an old school station to Real 92.3. Yeah. End of the road, Boys to Men plays is the last song. Immediately after Boys to Men, End of the Road goes off. Fucking this dude named DJ Drama comes on and says, turn the power off. This is Real 92.3. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
When I tell you, I remember driving and pulling over, listening to that, like, oh.
I said, oh shit, it's up.
And you know the hard part about it is like most people who do voice imaging for stations are just voices. Mm-hmm. When niggas hear my voice, they know it's drum.
Right.
So it's not like they're just looking at it as a voice. Yeah. You know, so the competitor is looking at it like, damn, drum's coming at us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I would love to call Justin and ask him like, yo, do you remember when I called you and was like, yo, bro, you know I love you, like, bro, I'm just.
But you got ahead. You gave him the call and gave him not the heads up, but after the fact, or did you get a call?
I got right on. I had to.
Okay.
You know, because, you know, shout to iHeart. You know what I mean, and you know, I definitely enjoy doing that voice work, but you know, it's because of how many roles I play within the culture, it's definitely put me in some awkward positions.
I just remember hearing, and I remember talking to Doc about it, and I'm like, bro, this is not New York. You can't do shit like what are you doing? Like, this is like, this, you can't declare, this ain't a declaration of like war. Like, this ain't Hot 97 and Power 105. Like, this ain't that. Like, in LA, this some street shit. It can get political. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but anyway,
definitely got it.
That was.
Do you know why they took me off?
No.
You don't know why?
No.
So according to Doc, my voice was too aggressive for LA when they did research.
I could see that.
And they said that it was I guess maybe because of the Latin audience, and maybe the female Latin audience, it was a little too aggressive.
It's too abrasive, Also, because I remember
I wish they had told me, because I could have brought it down a couple notches.
We used to. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I remember making fun of you one day because I worked for Big Boy. I was on, before I got the night show. Yeah. I was on Big Boy's show for 3 years, working on his show. Mm-hmm. So when we were doing
when he got to Real 92.3.
Yeah, when he came to Real. Yeah. So I've only been at Real, but when we were working in the morning, it'd be like 6 a.m. and you'll hear DJ Drama be like, you know, Drama come on and be like, yo, we got your tickets to Six Flags. Mm-hmm. It'd be like, oh shit.
It's too early for this.
It's too early. Yeah. Turn that shit down.
I could have. They could have told me to lower my tone. I could have did it, but you know, that's just how I was used to doing drops. So.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's all good.
I
but they replaced me with
for that tone. To kick shit off, it definitely.
It definitely set a precedent.
Yeah,
for sure.
It definitely set a precedent in the city.
But it also, I think, not being the voice kind of put me in a better position, like, of just, you know, again, like being able to go across the street, you know, as myself, or even with my artists and what have you. So
of course,
people don't understand that.
But I
multiple markets.
Yeah, I just wish that, and I know it's hard, but like when PDs hear me on competitive stations, they look at it like DJ drama instead of just a voice. Like
Right.
I'm just a voice. Like I'm not
Nah.
saying, yo, this DJ drama,
Right.
turn the power off. I'm not saying
Yeah.
my name. I'm just the voice.
Nah,
That's you.
nah,
That's
that's but that's the gift and the curse of being.
It's definitely
You
the
really
gift.
like that.
It's
You know what I'm
definitely
You really
saying?
like that.
It's definitely
I definitely
the
want to
gift.
get to the album too, but the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, I remember you welcoming all challenges to the verses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's up with whoever wanted the DJ verses. You with it.
I'm with it.
I love that because the one I've seen the most is Clue. I think. Who have you seen the most of, or who have you heard?
Clue and Khaled.
Clue and Khaled.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about Khaled.
Who you got?
That was the one I had been asked about the most in like
Khaled?
interviews and stuff. Yeah.
Who do I got?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to think about it.
Well, your moment.
You got a moment. Think about it. You may think about it. Go ahead.
I
What
got
you-
time.
Let me think.
Should we put the Jeopardy music on? What's going on,
I don't know.
bro?
I'm being honest with you. I don't know yet. I have to really think about it because it
would
ain't
be,
like
it would
it's
be
not
fucking fire.
it's not a catalog game. It's a 20 songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 20 records. So that's what I'm saying. I would have to think of like the best 20 records out of the catalog.
I mean, a lot of it depends on the rules too. Like, depends.
Do you know the official rules? For
Nah, I mean,
okay.
you know,
Probably something they would have to tell you ahead of time,
it's
too.
unorthodox. You know, so it'd be like, you know, obviously, Khaled has incredibly massive hit records. You know, I also have incredibly massive street cultural records.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, do we get to play our artist music? Like, you know, stuff that was on my mixtapes. Like, how does that count?
Artists that were signed to you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Can I
So
play
yeah.
Uzi shit? Can I play Jack shit? You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, because I mean, Khaled has some very big records. So I think like it's not a landslide either way. You know, and like,
I never thought about it from that perspective.
you know, I've read I think me and Clue is a little more complex because of like the generation Clue comes from and like what like how it would play out. But like, you know, Clue is, you know, he talks his shit too. Like,
But
he
the
says
reason-
he's with all the smoke. So
The reason why I didn't think about that because I don't think of Khaled as a mixtape DJ, even though
he's not.
Even though like,
I mean, he is, but
he comes from doing mixtapes.
He makes incredible hit records.
Right.
You know,
So, yeah.
But he's a DJ. But I mean, I make records too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
So, but to your point, that would definitely make it a way better versus. If you can include all encompassing
And then you gotta
under the DJ drama moniker,
Yeah.
all encompassing.
exactly. And then you think how dope it would be if like we can include the artists that we worked with, and like, you know, we both got bangers with Wayne or
Facts.
fucking, you know, Rose, Jeezy, or you know, I mean, this nigga got records with fucking Hove and Drake. You know what I'm saying? And I got some shit too. You know what I mean? So me and Khaled had a good laugh about it at the Grammys in February, just about, you know, all the chatter and the talk and everything, and you know,
I think that would be
won't-
fucking dope.
I won't, you know, I'll keep our conversation between us, but I think a lot of people felt like there was some, you know, smoke or static or between us, and like, you know, we just, you know, I think when it comes to DJs, like, you know, you got to really like tip your hat off to what the both of us have accomplished
That's
and
facts.
like, you know, what we've done as DJs for the culture, you know, and like, you know, when I've always talked about the verses, like I've just said like it would be such a dope celebration from a DJ perspective.
Hell
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And yeah, but on a competitive level, like he's not an easy opponent and neither am I.
I think that would be dope though, like to do that. Like I would love to see that all encompassing under DJ Khaled and under Drum, and then like even the thing like going back and forth, like, you know, you bring Wayne out and he like, hold on, I got one with Wayne too, and then y'all play. I think just the moment for hip hop would be
Crazy. No, it would be crazy.
And I just like the conversation that it brings up. Whatever side you go on, it's like it brings that celebration out, and it allows you to highlight both individuals.
Absolutely.
Like, damn, and
And because that's what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a celebration, and it's a it's paying homage to the artists in general.
exactly.
Last thing that I want to talk about before we go to the album is, well, one, Generation Now. Shout out to Sonny Digital.
Shout out to Sonny.
Sadie Hendrix. I forgot the girl. What's
Illuminati.
Illuminati? Everybody. Just from an artist standpoint, I know you get mixtapes all the time. Artists. What do you look for in an artist? Just so to satisfy the internet and the. For you to work with somebody, what are you looking for?
Obviously, talent, perseverance. Just that twinkle in the eye of really wanting it, the drive, hunger, willing to work, and just something special. Like, I don't even know how to put my finger on it, but it's just like, really, really just, artists that have a lot of conviction.
A lot of times you hear there's a lack of artist development. You know what I mean? When it comes to signing artists, when artists are out there, what's Generation Now's approach when it comes to developing talent in this day and age?
I mean, really just that development. Like, the majority of our artists that we sign come at early stages on in their career. Like, I don't think we've signed anyone yet that has had a hit record, before we've signed them. So, we like to be there from the ground level and help groom them and, be able to walk them in the rooms that, they probably wouldn't be able to get in as fast, and, take them on tour and, introduce them to the stage and, just, all aspects of it. From a business perspective, like, just, being able to handle their own interviews and, everything that comes with the business. Like, really, there isn't a lot of development anymore. And like, I think, we're such a boutique label and, very small and family orientated. So we like to just get as involved as they would like us to, and also, stay out the way when, they want us to.
I think I remember talking to Lake. We were at a Jack show. He sold out the Forum, by the way. That shit was crazy as fuck. I ain't gonna lie to you, that was insane. I hadn't seen that until YG sold out the Forum. That was his first time selling.
I remember talking to you that night.
That shit was crazy. Yeah. But I remember talking to Lake, and Lake was telling me that he was like, yeah, we've been, that was done with it. What you just spoke on was done with intention. He was like, we like to develop our artists from scratch, because like, we've had opportunities to sign other artists that are established and other people wanting to do deals with you guys, but we like to build our shit so that way. And I forgot what he said because I don't want to speak out of turn, but he was basically saying, like, we want people to know we know what the fuck we're doing.
Absolutely.
Stamp. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like that's important.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like that's what we've proven. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, when you look at our artists, or you talk about like people not seeing the vision or not believing in it, like, we get them. We don't get them. We haven't signed artists that are like already, at a point where, Uzi probably had fucking 6,000 followers. Jack might have had 8,000 followers. Like, like, we come in at a very early stage in their career and want to, be a part of the building process. Like, and, I just feel like the payoff or the payout, and I don't mean from a financial standpoint, but just from a cultural standpoint, feels a lot more significant in that way.
I'm really like that. I love that title.
Thank you.
When I got text you, I just love you on your shit. But something I paid attention to on this. Okay. You got Tyler, Blast, Nip. You got a Nip record, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Roddy, Mozzie, Simba.
Yeah.
And then I wrote one more. Oh, and LaRussell. Shout out to LaRussell from the Bay.
Yeah.
I'm
You know,
like,
I
oh,
love California.
bro.
It is like a second home.
I love California.
Bro, and the reason why I wanted to, I hadn't hit you about it because I just wanted to live with the album for a second, and I just wanted to thank you for that because I feel like, of course, every region feels a way. Okay, let's preface it with that. But I know for a fact that people look at our side as one way, then they don't look at us like the Griseldas. They don't look at us like the ASAP Mob. They don't look at us like that. They don't look at us like the South. It's like that's its own thing, which it rightfully should be. But at the same time, you never really see a lot of that coming over and putting it on their shit. A lot of times you'll see us
Got you reaching out.
putting it on our shit. So I just was like, damn, that's some representation on that motherfucker. I fuck with that.
Nah,
That was dope.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Well, one of our A&Rs, Willie Joe, is from the Bay.
Shout out to Willie Joe.
So shout out to Willie Joe. You know, obviously Lake is from LA.
Yep.
And you know, just beyond that, I mean, like when I make my albums, like I try to make my albums from a perspective of like, you know, just dope collaborations, like dope voices. Like, you know, I obviously you're gonna have the key players. Like, of course, you know, no one's shocked to see Jeezy on my album or Tip or Wayne,
Yeah.
but you know, La Russell niggas was like, whoa, what? Like, seeing fucking Mozzie.
Yeah, Mozzie was that one. That one threw me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, and them niggas is dope as fuck. Like, you know, and as much as I represent the A, and you know, I live here, I've made my career here. Like, again, it's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And my album, I'm really like that. Like, you know, I wanted to encompass like all parts of the genre as much as possible.
Yeah.
How have you been feeling about the response from the album?
It's been good. I think it's been good. I mean, I think partially it's somewhat of a slow burn, you know, but like the feedback has been really great. You know, it's really dope to me how different people have told me they have different favorites. Like, you know, some people love the Nip, Jeezy and Blast record. Some people love Andale, the Moneybag and Offset record. The niggas love Free Game with Doug and Vert, or people talk to me about No Weakness with Simba and Wiz and Tip, or, you know, the intro with Tyler, or
It was fitting. The intro was fitting.
yeah, I had, you know,
You had to
it's
do
only
that.
right. You know, or Iron Right, the record with Rest in Peace of Trouble and Boosie on B Peasy, or even I Can't Believe We Made It with La Russell and Sa and Carvina. Like, you know, I just really love how, to me, that, you know, how diverse the like what records people gravitate towards and like and like that. That's dope to me. Or even like, you know, the West Side Gun and Ross record, you know, and that record is somewhat older. Like I had put that out a couple years ago, but people weren't that familiar with it. So even people seeing that, like West Side Gun and Ross, was like, oh shit, like, you know. So yeah, I mean, overall the feedback has been great. I think, you know, my rollout, the Juice skits, like
amazing, by the way,
thank
bro.
you.
That shit was
Phenomenal.
fire.
Like, I was just in Paris working on my podcast, and you know, I went to the Jay-Z show. It happened to be over there, and I saw A$AP Rocky, and he was like, "Nigga, I'm mad as shit you didn't call me for the Juice reenactment." And you know, I've gotten really, really good feedback on that as well, which I'm very proud of, you know, because one, it was I can't believe I pulled it off,
Man.
and two, just conceptually wise, and you know, just, you know, the idea itself was like just fucking dope as fuck.
And getting all the key people involved from
Yeah, I
Latifah
mean,
and
just to
Outkast
literally
and Juice.
think, I mean, like, you know, I mean, for those who don't know, Juice was my inspiration for being a DJ, so it had a lot of sentimental value to me. And then just for the idea and the concept, and to be able to really shoot with Queen Latifah,
bro.
with Omar Epps, with Raheem and Steele, like, you know, like, this shit was like, nigga, I still can't believe
I
I
remember
got it.
seeing you and Jim Jones. I forgot where I saw that shit.
Shout out to Jim, he directed it, right?
Jim Jones directed it.
I saw the
Shout out to Jim
BTS
Jones.
of you and Jim Jones, and I was like, what the fuck can Jim Jones and Drum be up to in New York? Like, what the fuck are they doing? I forgot who somebody posted it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck are they doing in New York? Like, what could you possibly be doing with Jim Jones
and Jim, you know, because like Jim used to direct a lot of videos,
Right.
and do a lot of stuff. And Lake actually came with that idea. He was like, you know, it would be dope. He was like, what about if we asked Jim to do it? And I called Jim, and I told him the idea, and he was like, oh, you're not trying to shoot a video. I was like, yo, you still doing videos? And he was like, you know, I mean, da da da. He's like, what you got? And I told him the idea, and he was like, oh, what? I'm all in. And literally the next day, this nigga had sent me just like, you know, a full on like full throttle of, you know, production, and he was ready to go. So having Jim there was, you know, also important. One, you know, obviously when Queen Latifah and Omar Epps see Jim Jones is directing it, it's another level of respect besides myself. And then like his, you know, his passion for it, like he was all in, and it just was like, you know, and even, you know, it was fun for me even like, you know, rewriting the script to kind of like incorporate the concept of my album, like, you know, and like figuring out on which scenes I was going, you know, play Omar's character, or which scenes I was going to play Pac's character. So it was incredible. Like the feedback I got was insane.
The Queen Latifah said, "Yo, you really like that?" Like that little touch.
That was the oh yeah, you local line. So I just switched up little key things, and there's even like a lot of like Easter eggs in there. Like if you look at the the record store scene, like the album that they ask Steele to put back is "Call Me If You Get Lost."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, you know, or even like when I'm talking to Chinese kitty at the counter, she's like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Layton." That's Lake's real name. Or you know, even in the apartment scene, I'm like, you know, it was Blills had just robbed the store, but I was like, you know, I said Cannon, like if we was there, Cannon, da da da, and Omar was like Cannon. So you know, we put a lot of effort into it.
That's fire. That's your own little MCU like post credit scenes and shit.
Classic. Yeah,
I got two more questions.
Go ahead.
Selfishly, are you a father?
I am.
Okay, so as a father, I'm a father of two right now.
Yep.
Just
But
being
you got girls or boys?
I got boys, two boys.
I got girls.
All right, so being a father, man, what dad advice would you give to not only fathers like myself, but just any fathers individually out there that's in the business, or just fathers in general, in terms of handling that, being in this lifestyle and moving forward?
Well, obviously be a father to your child, and you know it's in this line of work it's tough. Like, you know, there's a lot of sacrifices on both sides that need to be made. You know, there's times when, you know, I've missed birthdays, I've missed events because I've been working, and then there's also times when I've had to, you know, not do something to make sure to be there. And it's just, you know, balance, you know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to, you know, everything that I am, father is the first on the list.
First one.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's, you know, probably my most prized possession or accolade is being a father, you know, especially as a man raising daughters, you know what I mean? And, you know, trying to be as good of a role model as I can. And as well, you know, I can admit that I've had times when I've told my daughters, like, yeah, don't get a guy like your dad on some of these things, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know, it obviously fatherhood is challenging for anybody, you know what I mean? There's no handbook to the situation or to parenting, and you know, you learn as you go, but you know, I just definitely balance is key. And you know, I try to at this stage, you know, my kids are pretty much grown in a sense, so you know, like they get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And
do they know who you are?
Oh, of course.
100%.
I mean, yeah. I mean, beyond that, like, you know, like my daughter hits me and, you know, to ask me, says her friends want autographs, or, you know, there'll be times when they don't tell people and then people find out who their father is or things like that. But I mean, it's pretty dope. I mean, And then for me, I started young. I had my first daughter when I was 21.
Oh wow.
So now at 45 and her being 21 going on 22, it's like, I'm still at an age where, we can enjoy like things together. Like, I remember when my oldest first turned 18, I was on tour with Wiz and I brought her out on stage to say happy birthday and, just moments. I mean, you only have those moments in those times, especially when they're younger. So, there's definitely sacrifices that need to be made. But kids also got to understand, we do what we do, so we give them better lives than what we may have had.
So what is the best piece of advice that you've gotten from your father, or maybe something that you've seen that you applied that you've witnessed from him over the years?
That's a great question. I think just to be able to be open and honest, and then even in situations know that, there are times when where I've needed to make sure that, my children are heard by me. As a dad, sometimes, we feel like, it's either our way or no way, or, you know what I mean? Like, this my house, my rules, you know what I'm saying? But, I've been able to, be in a situation with my kids where, I've been able to stand corrected or maybe handle things in a different manner or say, I hear you, I might not necessarily agree with you, but I do hear you.
That's one of the things I picked up from my father before he passed away. One of the conversations we had, he was basically apologizing to me because he was like, man, affectionate wise, like I was there for you, but I might not have been there emotionally,
right?
Because that's all I knew,
right?
We didn't say I love you, we didn't embrace each other like that. So for me, I internalized that. I appreciated the fact that we had that conversation.
Yeah, that's big.
Prior to him passing, but then now when my kid, I love on him so much.
Yeah,
and it's like I can count the times that I remember my father giving me a hug like that. So I overcompensate with my sons.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but that's dope, and that's important because, like, even I can admit that there have been times when I may have felt like, all right, well, I'm working so hard because I'm providing and I want to make sure that they're good and have all this stuff, but it's not always about that because again, they need that time and that affection and being there for those moments, whether they're recitals or proms or things of that nature, or games, you know what I'm saying, or whatever your children's interests are, you know what I'm saying. So like, in this business, like there's moments when we're gone a lot, you know what I mean, and you tell yourself, okay, I'm doing it for the betterment of them, but at the same time, some of the betterment of them is for you to actually physically be there and to share that time with them.
Bro, the homie Premium P says a presence over presence, and I always take that with me everywhere I go.
Presence of a presence, that's dope.
Speaking of your dad, I want to read you something that I saw because I would be reading. I like to go. I always say if you ever want to humble yourself, you go read your YouTube comments. Like I go read my YouTube. If I'm feeling myself, like like I'm that nigga, like I'm out here. Then I go read my YouTube comments. I'm like, all right. Yeah, but I always see like I
can go many places to do that.
I already know. I checked out some of your comments and people were like always with the they hit you with the race shit
all the time.
All the time they hit you with the mixtape shit and then they hit you with the talking over the music or I see the tweets about you talking over the music and shit like that. And I'm just like, bro, like if you're not a part of the culture, you get it. Stay over there. You know what I'm saying?
I always say like, yo, do y'all like if the artists or people didn't enjoy what I do, how the fuck do you think I would be able to do it this long? Like that's what I always question. Like, I mean, and it might be an acquired taste. It might not be for everybody, which is okay. Everything's not for everybody, but it's like y'all niggas think I would have been doing this at this elite level for the last 20 years without some form of somebody loving the fuck out of what I do? Like, cut it out.
I have a tweet that you tweeted and this is for everybody that be in the YouTube. I mean, the Twitter is the you yelling. The YouTube comments is the race shit. So this is a tweet from DJ Drama in 2009.
I remember this tweet.
You remember this tweet?
Yeah, some people still retweet it.
Oh, okay, people still wonder my ethnicity. My pop is black, my mom is white, and my real name is Tyree. That should help with the what are you?
Yeah.
was like,
thank God they didn't name me Jonathan
It'd have been an
or
uphill
fucking
battle even
Brandon.
more.
Like,
what's so funny about that is
like, nigga, my name's Tyrese.
you still didn't lose your shit.
And
Going back to the
typing that shit.
but
Going
like it
crazy,
was so
right?
eloquently, you know what I'm saying? And this is '09 drop.
Yeah.
Like this is 2009. I'm like, when is he gonna lose his shit? Like, but yeah, so I just wanted to get that.
I mean,
up.
I still go through it though. Niggas still like, and I mean, I've said it on tapes. Like, yo, y'all niggas think I could have gotten away with this many niggas, like, without somebody stopping me or questioning me, like. But yeah, I mean, you know, the comments are. I don't mind reading them. I have very thick skin, so you know I love reading. I see them whether they're on on Instagram or Twitter or you know YouTube when I'm doing interviews, and you know I think those are the main things that question my race. Yeah, me talking on the tapes.
Yep.
And what was the other one?
The other one was
The mixtape. I don't know.
Or just
no. Oh yeah. Are you the actual like the
or like what
your position in the
oh yeah, like what do you do?
your position in the mixtape game? It's always that for me.
yeah.
Like the ones I see, it'd be like, well, he's not better, and it'd be
Yeah.
like their local like
Yeah.
mixtape guy. I'm like, no disrespect, but it's not this.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, whatever.
But I mean, you know, yeah, that comes with the territory. I mean, like some artists aren't good at that. Like, you know, my man Barry Hefner just put a tweet out not too long ago, and it was like, what is it in an artist's brain that makes them skip 99 of the positive comments and react to the one negative
facts,
one?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But and I don't know what it is because even I've done it. Like,
Oh, I've definitely seen you respond. You clap back. I've seen you clap
I've
back.
trolled back. Like, yeah, like
I've seen it.
yeah, somebody will say some guy had said recently like, man, I can't wait for DJ Drama to just shut the fuck up and never say something again. I think I posted it and I was like, I have some terrible news. For you.
I think I reposted that.
Yeah, like
I have terrible news for you, man. We just get more.
yeah, I definitely troll back, but I don't. But when I respond, it never comes from a place of like animosity. Like it comes from a like, let me fuck with them. Like you know, like people.
Where do you do your troll? Where do you do your troll back? Is it on the toilet or is it like in the studio? Because I remember talking to one of the homies. I forgot who it was. A basketball, not Baron. It was a basketball player, and he's like, "Oh yeah, if I ever get back at somebody, he's like, I'm on the toilet.
You got time.
I got time."
I'm normally in the car. Like I don't like to drive, so I have a driver. So it's normally like when
In the car.
Yeah, I'm in the car.
Gotcha.
Or something. That's my clapback.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, last name. What is homegrown? That term. What does that mean to you?
Homegrown means to me really getting it out the mud, like coming from the soil. You know what I'm saying? Like the foundation. You know, when you homegrown, you know, like it's there were no steps that were skipped. You know what I'm saying? Like
I fuck with that.
yeah, that's what it means.
Is there anybody that is there anybody that you work with or that you haven't worked with that you have like one of them like you wish it would have went a different way? Whether it's in the studio or like you had an opportunity to do a project with somebody.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, definitely, you know, I've spoken on this before, but me and Nicki don't have a mixtape together. And you know, I there was an opportunity for me to do Beam Me Up Scotty, and you know, Shout the Holiday, and I think Trapaholics wound up doing it. I would have loved to have had Nicki a part of the Gangsta Grillz legacy. And let me think. Besides that, anybody that I have or haven't worked with. I mean, there was a song that I did vocals for one of the Detox projects.
Oh, like for Dr. Dre.
Yeah, for Dre, and it was Tip was on the song.
I think I remember that.
And I did vocals on there. I mean, it does exist. It's out there, but it never it didn't make the album. But I was super excited that I was about to be a part of like
Hell yeah.
Detox. So yeah, and beyond that, I've never really gotten a chance to be in the studio with Dre or work with him. So I would love to have that experience.
A female rapper to do a Gangsta Grillz with. right now? Because ladies having a run right
It's a
now.
lot. I would do one with Glorilla. I would still love to do one with Nicki. Who else? I like Lady London. Lady London is fire.
Yeah.
Tierra Whack.
Tierra Whack is fire.
Yeah, she can spit her ass off. Who else? It's so many women. It's like, it's hard because you don't want to leave nobody out. Yeah, I think that's a good.
That's a good start.
Good. Yeah, good start.
I fuck with that.
Yeah, Lady London is fired. I'll fuck with her.
Lady London is fire, bro.
Well, we appreciate you being generous with your time, bro.
Absolutely.
Thank you
And
so
And
much.
thank you for letting us, be
Use the
here at the
spot.
studio.
Yeah,
Sure,
man.
please.
Shout out to
bring
Lake,
yourself
shout out to
home.
Cannon.
I'm really like that out right now,
Out
and,
right
and
now.
keep on look forward to everything else Drama's got going on. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
We appreciate the time, man. It's
Love.
Homegrown Radio. Chuck Dizzle, DJ Ed. We'll catch y'all next time.